Deadliest polar bear encounters during the Arctic hunger season on the desolate canvas of the unforgiving Arctic, where the sun's dominion wanes and sustenance becomes a spectral whisper. Even the white monarch of this frozen realm must reckon with the gnawing maw of hunger. Here, amidst the fracturing ice and the dwindling prey, the polar bear's reign is not an unbroken decree, but a fragile dominion perpetually tested by the raw, unforgiving logic of survival. The wind, a relentless sculptor of ice and snow, howled across the desolate expanse, a mournful dirge for a dying season. Daylight, a pallid and fleeting visitor, cast long, skeletal shadows that distorted the familiar contours of the frozen world. Here, on the frayed edges of the Arctic, where the vast ocean exhaled a chilling mist and the ice groaned under an unseen pressure, survival was a daily negotiation, a brutal ledger of gain and devastating loss. It was a realm where the slightest miscalculation, the briefest lapse in vigilance, could spell irrevocable ruin. Amidst this stark and unforgiving tableau moved Ursa Major, a titan of white fur and coiled muscle, though time had begun to etch its indelible signature upon his form. His once impenetrable coat bore the scuffs of countless seasons, his gait a shade less fluid than in his prime, and the hunger that gnawed at his belly was a constant, insistent companion. The seal hunt, the cornerstone of his existence, had become an increasingly elusive prize. The thinning floes, once reliable platforms for ambuscade, now fractured with alarming capriciousness, and the seals, ever more attuned to the subtle tremors of impending danger, grew warier. Today, however, a glimmer of opportunity presented itself. Huddled on a relatively stable, albeit shrinking, ice pack, a small congregation of ringed seals basked, their dark forms stark against the stark white. Ursa Major, his massive head lowered, his keen eyes fixed upon the unsuspecting creatures, began his deliberate approach. He moved with an ancient, predatory grace, each paw placement meticulously calculated to distribute his immense weight, minimizing disturbance. The wind, his ally, carried the scent of his quarry away from them, muffling the subtle crackle of his passage over the ice. He utilized every ridge, every subtle undulation of the frozen surface as cover, a phantom of ivory intent. The seals, lulled by the deceptive stillness of the late season, remained oblivious to the encroaching specter. He was within striking distance, the primal urge to surge forward, to end the agonizing hunger with a decisive pounce, building within him like a contained storm. He could almost taste the blubber, feel the satisfying resistance of bone, the silencing of desperate squeals. He braced himself, his powerful hindquarters tensing, ready to unleash the explosive force that had defined his dominance for so long. This was the apex predator's calculated moment, the culmination of instinct and experience, the very essence of his being poured into a single, decisive act. But the Arctic, in its capricious and often cruel nature, held its own ambitions. Just as Ursa Major prepared to explode into motion, a deep, resonant groan rippled through the ice beneath him, far more profound than the usual creaks and groans of thermal expansion. A fissure, impossibly wide and impossibly swift, tore through the flow, not at the edges, but directly in the path of his intended leap. The ice, his platform of power, betrayed him. It buckled and fractured with terrifying speed, sending a cascade of jagged shards outward. The seals, startled from their torpor by the seismic upheaval, erupted into panicked flight, plunging into the frigid waters with a flurry of desperate splashes. Ursa Major, caught mid-brace, found his powerful charge dissolved into a frantic scramble for purchase. His massive paws scrabbled against the disintegrating ice, the very ground beneath him surrendering to the crushing forces of the ocean. He let out a guttural roar, a sound of frustration and primal outrage, as the ice gave way completely, sending him tumbling into the biting, dark water. The shock of the frigid immersion was immediate, stealing his breath and chilling him to the bone. He thrashed, his powerful limbs working to regain stability on the now treacherous, fragmented ice. He emerged from the water, a sodden, defeated behemoth, shaking himself violently, spray flying like miniature icicles. The seals were gone, vanished into the depths, leaving only the vast, indifferent expanse of water and the taunting whisper of the wind. The gamble had failed, spectacularly and humiliatingly. His hunger remained, a burning ember, now fanned by the bitter ashes of defeat. The observational data, stark and irrefutable, documented this profound vulnerability. Even the king of the Arctic could be undone by the shifting foundations of his kingdom. The raw edge of the settlement's detritus, a tantalizing but treacherous frontier, had offered a brief, violent respite. For Kalin, the great white bear, the raid had yielded a meager yet crucial collection of discarded sustenance, but at a steep cost. A glancing blow from a fleeing human, a desperate flail of a tool meant to ward off predators, had left a searing pain in his flank, a wound that pulsed with an unwelcome heat and made the familiar spring in his step a painful, labored thing. He limped away from the human enclaves, the metallic tang of blood mingling with the brine in the frigid air, his usual solitary majesty marred by this fresh vulnerability. He sought the solitude of the pack ice, a sanctuary where he could lick his wounds and regain his formidable strength. Unbeknownst to him, his weakened state had not gone unnoticed. A pack of Arctic wolves, lean and driven by the same gnawing hunger that plagued Kalin, had been tracking his movements. These were not the solitary hunters of the open tundra. This pack operated with a chilling, coordinated intelligence. They saw not the undisputed monarch of the north, but a compromised titan, a gamble worth taking. From the periphery of his vision, they emerged like phantoms from the swirling snow, their gray coats blending with the muted landscape. The wolves did not charge headlong, a suicidal folly against a creature of Kalin's power. Instead, they employed a strategy of relentless attrition. They darted in and out of his reach, their sharp nips and lunges aimed at his injured flank and hindquarters. Kalin, despite his pain, responded with the ferocity of a cornered beast. He swiped with paws that could shatter bone, his roars echoing across the ice, a symphony of raw power and agony. Two wolves, caught too close, crumpled under the impact of his blows, their howls quickly silenced. Yet for every wolf he struck down, two more seemed to appear, their relentless pressure a suffocating tide. They were an extension of the hunger itself, a living embodiment of the season's brutal demands. The coordinated harassment began to take its toll. Kalin's movements became slower, more predictable. The searing pain in his side intensified with every evasive maneuver. He felt his stamina waning, his powerful roars diminishing to ragged breaths. The wolves sensed the shift, their attacks becoming bolder, their lunges deeper. They were pressing him, not to kill him outright, but to exhaust him, to drive him to a point of utter depletion. With a final, desperate surge of energy, Kalin lunged towards the open water, the only escape from the relentless jaws that nipped at his heels. He plunged into the icy embrace of the sea, the shock of the cold a temporary reprieve from the burning in his side. He swam with powerful strokes, the wolves pacing him along the ice edge, their howls a fading testament to their failed ambition. He had survived, but the indignity of the pursuit, the undeniable evidence of his vulnerability, hung heavy in the biting air. He had been forced to flee, not from a superior predator, but from a determined pack that had capitalized on his momentary weakness. A stark reminder that even the mightiest reign could be challenged when the claws of hunger dug too deep. The vast, undulating expanse of the frigid sea met the land in a chaotic symphony of ice floes and exposed rock. Here, during the leanest of months, a colossal congregation of walruses had gathered, a rustling, bellowing mass of blubber and ivory. For Boar, a polar bear of immense size and considerable experience, this was an opportunity, a potential banquet that could alleviate the gnawing emptiness in his gut. He had observed them from a distance, noting their sheer numbers, but also a perceived lack of individual vigilance, a hubris he believed he could exploit. His past encounters with smaller prey, even the recent indignities he had suffered, had not diminished his inherent confidence in his own predatory prowess. He began his approach with a calculated stillness, using the scattered, smaller ice fragments as intermittent cover. His massive frame, usually a testament to raw power, now moved with a cautious stealth, a ghost of white against the muted blues and grays of the Arctic landscape. He stalked the periphery of the rookery, his gaze fixed, searching for the opportune moment to strike at a lone individual. A straggler separated by the jostling mass, the air vibrated with the cacophony of the walruses, the deep, resonant bellows, the snorts of discontent, the rustle of their immense bodies shifting on the shore. The moment presented itself. A solitary bull, slightly apart from the main group, was engaged in a territorial dispute with another. Boar saw his chance. He tensed, his powerful muscles coiling, ready to explode into a charge that would cover the remaining distance in a matter of heartbeats. This was the apex predator's ultimate advantage, the swift and overwhelming application of force to neutralize prey before it could fully react. But the walrus herd, a creature of surprising collective intelligence and formidable defense, was not so easily outmaneuvered. As Boar launched himself forward, a wave of alarm rippled through the rookery. The dispute between the bulls ceased, replaced by a unified, thunderous roar that seemed to shake the very ice. The sheer volume of sound was disorienting, a primal, sonic assault. And then the herd surged. Not in panic, but in a directed, defensive maneuver. Dozens, then hundreds of massive bodies shifted, their immense weight creating a formidable, living wall. Boar found his intended prey swallowed by the churning mass. He lunged, intending to still carve out his prize, but instead met the unyielding flesh and bone of multiple walruses. Tusks, like sharpened sabers, glinted in the pale light, and the air filled with the stench of their blubber. Boar was not merely repelled, he was engulfed by the sheer force of the herd's unified defense. He thrashed, trying to regain his footing, to escape the crushing press of their bodies and the dangerous sweep of their tusks. A sharp, agonizing jab connected with his flank, a stinging reminder of their armament. He felt the hot sting of blood, a humiliating counterpoint to the cold air. The coordinated bellowing intensified, a clear message of defiance. Realizing the futility of his assault against such an organized and formidable front, Boar disengaged. He retreated, not with the swift efficiency of a successful hunt, but with a clumsy scramble, his pride wounded as much as his flesh. He lumbered away from the roiling mass, the sounds of their triumph following him like a taunt. The walrus herd, a unified entity, had not only repelled him, but had delivered a palpable message. Even the most formidable predator could be rendered impotent by the sheer, unyielding force of a united prey. The evidence, in the form of his bleeding flank and the distant, triumphant roars, spoke volumes about the humbling realities of the Arctic hunger season. The unforgiving Arctic season tested the mettle of even its most formidable inhabitants, proving that raw power is but one facet of survival. In the face of hunger, the ice, the wolf pack, and the mighty walrus, the great white monarch found his dominion challenged, his strength tested, and his reign far from absolute. These moments of desperate struggle underscore a fundamental truth that even the most dominant forces are subject to the relentless pressures of their environment. We hope this glimpse into the harsh realities of the Arctic hunger season has resonated with you. What do you believe is the greatest challenge facing these apex predators today? Environmental changes, dwindling prey, or the increasing encroachment of human activity? Share your thoughts with us here on Content Channel. Until next time, may the wild places continue to inspire awe and reflection. Join us again as we explore the shadowed world of the great white shark, a hunter whose own reign is often a perilous dance with the deep.